Good afternoon, friends. Greetings from Bangladesh. Thanks to the Institute of Social Sciences, ADN, and World Movement for Democracy, and thanks to the International Republican Institute, IRI, for moderating this very important panel discussion, and also thanks for inviting me to join as a panelist at the Strengthening Democracy in Asia conference. This is the first time for me in an international conference as a panelist. The young people who comprise approximately half of Asia's population definitely represent a reservoir of change for better governance. I would like to explain my country's situation on this regard. According to a nationwide survey in Bangladesh in 2013, 70% of our population are young generation, those who are below 40 years old. This is, of course, a great asset for Bangladesh, but the reality is the total young generation is frustrated due to lack of democracy practice in the country. Mind it, it's not only in the present regime. For the last 44 years, the country is suffering because the absence of rule of law. I would like to go a little bit behind to understand the situation as a whole. Bangladesh got independence in 1971 after a huge bloodshed. The freedom fighters fought for a better society to get, number one, human dignity, number two, equality, and number three, social justice. But later on, when the Constitution was written after the independence, none of them reflected properly with the compromise of the independence. As a result, the struggle is on, especially the mass people, the minority, the ethnic minority, the indigenous people are suffering for the last 4 decades. Democracy is one of the components what people want that should be reflected in the governance. I don't think that the political parties, even sometimes some civil society, don't understand the pulse of the people of Bangladesh. And this is a very sad thing for our country, that even the civil society also partially biased, whether with the, that those who are in the power or those who are in the opposition party. The absence of human dignity in the country creates undeserving discrimination, and the discrimination is going on, and that is implemented by the agencies of the government. Also, this discrimination is promoted by the political parties. Now, the question is whether the institutions which are responsible to run the state are working or not. As for example, every job in the government is highly politicized. The job in the police department, other government officials, you just name it, everywhere, every jobs are politicized. Even the same criteria is being maintained to recruit the judges. Whoever are the meritorious young generation is out of job. Even you know that many of the young generation, the country situation like this right now, that opposition political parties, that there is a continuous blockade and the hostile strike is going on. Even the young generation of Bangladesh, they want to quit, they want to leave the country. The situation is so jeopardized. The type of culture is greater threat to democracy. Another aspect, to make the state institution not only necessary, but also must for the country. I mean, the independent institutions. Say, for example, independent policing system. At present situation, the victims don't have the fair complaint mechanism in Bangladesh. It's always done in the subjective way, not in the objective way. It depends on whoever in the power in the state. If you are in the government side, then you will get, sometimes you will get some justice. If you are not, then you will not get any justice. We strive for democracy, but the truth is, democracy is not a democracy if there is no rule of law. If any state guarantee impunity to the perpetrators of extrajudicial killing and enforced disappearances and torture in the police custody, then the rule of law does not exist in the country. And this is the present situation in Bangladesh. Rule of law and the impunity cannot coexist together. If we value our youth, then we need to address this reality. Until and unless we address this reality sincerely and effectively, then we are just doing nothing for youth and the population at large. Very recently, I would like to mention about the Abhijit Roy killing. You know, he's a blogger and writer, young blogger. He was living in USA, and he came to Bangladesh. You know that in the month of February, there is a big book fair festival in the whole month, and his 2 books were published. And he came to visit Bangladesh, and he was being killed in, in the heart of the city, in Dhaka. This is called Shahbag. There is a Shahbag movement. There is a big movement in that place 1 year back. So the Abhijit Roy was being killed, and there is some police nearby. But these people, these perpetrators, they're the fundamentalists, extremists, they killed him and they escaped. So far, nobody is arrested. So this is the failure of the state. And I would like to mention, see, Bangladesh, the mass people of Bangladesh, these people, they're religious, but not racist. You know, we fought in 1971 against the Pakistan, and Pakistan was the Islamic country, but it's not that because of human dignity, social justice, that was the priority for Bangladeshis, not the religion. But these political people often they use these religious issues as a weapon to remain in the power or to grab the power. I'm sorry. আমার স্টেজ ভীতি আছে, স্টেজ প্রীতি নাই in Bengali. It's called I'm afraid of stage, I'm not fond of stage. Thank you. Now the discussion is on youth issues. Question is how to bring the young people in the process of a change maker for better governance, more creative solutions to public policy challenges, and innovative approaches to decision making. How to create an environment so that they can play their potential role as democratic citizens. I would like to mention here, we have an organization called Subarnagram Foundation, and we work for children education, for the non-privileged children education, and the environment and the human rights. So actually we have some book reading movement in the colleges, 4 colleges, where 1,200 students are involved. It is called Patchakro, book reading movement. So through this movement, actually we try to make them conscious about the democracy, about human rights, about the culture and the history and others. Again, I give thanks to IRI for giving young government officials, political party representatives, and civil society leaders representing Bangladesh, India, Indonesia, and Cambodia to be part of the panel and have some discussions on the youth issues. I have some specific suggestions. Number 1, Uh, Actually, this has come from my activities, from my organization, because we do lots of cultural activities, and I think that this is the one of the most important component that to change the society, to make more conscious, to build up the more consciousness among the young generations. Number one, to create a space for dialogue among the young people through small discussions, seminar, symposium. Number two, to involve the young generation in more and more in the cultural activities. Like, that what we do, like drama, street drama, in the college, in the universities, and some music program. Through that, actually, it is easy to motivate the young generation. Number three, youth are more technologically minded. We should create more space so that through the social media, Facebook, Twitter, etc., have opportunities to participate and engage directly, create intergenerational coalitions, and directly influence policy and politics. Number four, to create a youth network in the Asian region of common ground to build and sustain democratic processes. Thanks to my co-panelists, friends Ritthy, Reena Khatoon, and Elina, Ciptadi, IRI's Vice President for Programs, Thomas Garrett. Thank you for your patience. And I would like to finish my speech with a few lines of poetry. Is that okay? Thank you. So this is two part of the poems. One part for the elder generation, senior generations in my country, what they think, and second part is for the younger generation, what they think. I will recite in Bengali, and I will try to translate. ক্লান্ত চোখের পাতা, তারও চেয়ে ক্লান্ত আমার পা, যেথায় দেখি সাধের আসন পাতা, একটু বসি, জবাব আসে না. Na means no. That I'm very tired, my eyes tired, my eyelids are more tired, my hands tired, even my legs tired. I want to sit, but I want to sit, and I say, may I sit? The answer is no. Second part is, তুমি বললে সম্ভব না, আমি বুঝলাম সম্ভাবনা. সম্ভব না, that means impossible. সম্ভাবনা means there is a possibility. Yes. That means you said it's not possible. But I heard, yes, it is possible. Thank you.
All right, so we do have a few minutes for questions, and there's one right there at the gentleman in the blue. Why don't you just start talking? Go ahead. Here we go.
It is Ritthy.
I'm Long from Vietnam, and thank you for our four panelists today. I found this very interesting to me. And my question, I have one question. In Vietnam, if you look at the Lonely Planet travel guidebook of Vietnam, you can see they describe Vietnam as a country of status quo. That means most people, including young generation, simply ignore politics, and they don't want to get involved in any political act. And they don't want to express any political opinions because it's sensitive and risky in Vietnam. So my question is, do you have the same problem in your home countries? And if so, what do you do to convince young generation to involve in politics? I would like to hear from all of you if possible. Thank you.
Let's just start right here and we'll move down. So
Cambodia. So Poltikoffee started engaging, mobilizing youth to talk politics, but we don't start with the word politics. If you want young people to sing or something like politics, you need to talk something about their life. Informal, the way you organize, the way you do it, not like a workshop, but informal group discussion, and talk something about their life. For example, I talked with my friend who studied IT. He graduated with BSc IT from India. And this guy is so much fear about politics. And I can convince him finally to talk politics. Because I just asked him, what do you think about IT in India? He starts talking a lot. Oh, IT is a great country. He produces a lot of software and all this. And then I asked him, can you tell about IT in Cambodia? Then he said, not good, because of this, that, because that. He already talked politics. And then suddenly he come to criticize the system, that it's poor leadership, it's poor of human resource management, that many graduate from high school start studying something like business, accountant, management, almost 50% of those. So there is no policy on human resources to study sciences. So he come to talk politics finally. And then now he's get hooked. He's interested in talking about something, about political party now, after half of the year when we're talking with me. So start something from the daily life, start something from simple. For example, farmer, you're talking about the price of the rice. Why the price of the rice is cheap? Why the fertilizer is expensive? Why gasoline is so expensive? So they just express their opinion. And then for a few steps ahead, they will go to politics and policy. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, as Ritthy has mentioned, that we need to start up with them, with their issues, with their problems, not politics, not a problem with the politics. We at YP Foundation, we started work with peer educators. We train them on governance issue, and they work with their within their community on the same issue. In my experiences, we mobilize the youth basically through the campaigns, awareness campaign. How should our government? How should I live? How should my house, like how? What kind of facility need to provide me? What's our constitution gave us right, but the government is what delivering to us. We started with that, and then when they started the problem, not the politics, but to recognize the problem community level, they community member and youth also, they are very worried about their future, their career, their study, their education. But as my experience, I started my activism with my issue, when I felt that where my study and how I can continue my study after 12th. And I started the issue, and I used the Right to Information Act to ask the government, how should I continue, how can I continue my study, how can I attain the scholarship, how can get that. And yeah, definitely it works. And as my colleague, my friend shared that she was like accidentally activist. I was same, because I started with my issue. I never started with the issue of others. I realized it's my problem. I realized that I should ask the government why they are not delivering education system. They are not strengthening the mechanism. They are not giving services which should we could get then. Yeah.
True, actually, that we don't tell the young people that is they go and do politics. It's not like that. And frankly, in my country, in Bangladesh, the young generation especially, they don't like politics. Even the parents always say they don't go to the politics. Your life will be, destroyed. So actually, this is the situation like this, because in front everybody gives salam to the politicians, but in their mind behind They just laugh at them and just sometimes they hate them. Because politics is a one kind of good business without any investment. So within few years, you can be millionaire or billionaire. Anyway, so this is the trend in the country, that not only this regime, all the past regime also, for the last 44 years after independence, the same thing is going on, and that is, they're sending the money to abroad, and the other countries, they like Swiss Bank and some other countries, they're investing others. It is billions of dollars and the people's money. Anyway, so what we do, actually, we have Path Chakra. Path Chakra means study circle. We have study circle movement in the colleges. What we do, we choose the books, the types of books, that these books create some thirst on them, Trishna Jagai. That means it creates some thirst in their mind, in their heart. They feel that we need to change this society. We need to change the society. So this is the one thing, and we arrange some street dramas to make them more conscious about the politics. And we arrange some program also, with different kinds of culture, and we do more cultural and activities. So through that, we make them to be more thirsty about the politics. So this is the things. And besides that, I want to mention one thing. One Bodul Alam Mojumdar sir is present here. He's very most respected person in Bangladesh, and he is doing a great job. And we also work with him, with his organization. It's called Shujon, and also Hunger Project. And they're all doing a great job, like to make the young generation to be more involved in the politics, good politics. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Elina.
Just very quickly, because I was about to mention the same thing that Ritthy already said. So other than kind of start with relevant daily topics, I would take advantage of the diaspora network. I know Vietnam is a country where quite a number of your talented young people are given scholarship overseas. When they're overseas, that political, that government pressure to not be involved in politics is no longer there. Kawal Pemilu was started by 5 young people, all living overseas, all living outside of Indonesia. So, and my involvement in politics started when I was in college in Australia, because at that time it was not possible for me to be politically involved in